Are we? Yeah, I'm good when you are.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. It is that time again, time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll talk to Blake in mere seconds, but in the meantime, let me give you some contact information so you can get in touch with Blake when you want to. The phone number at the office at Sloan Realty Group is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or you can go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. We'll repeat that contact info a lot in the next 30 minutes so that you can get in touch when you want to. In the meantime, to get the show started, here's Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an awesome show. Tons of great information today. The market's just like crazy. We got mortgage news, we got real estate news, we got stat news, and so we'll kind of break down what's been going on. It's been crazy. With what we're seeing right now. This is a 52nd straight week of just Corona edition, COVID-19 world we're in now. And really, we've seen so many different aspects of how it's affected real estate and really Myrtle Beach as a whole, because so many people have been moving down here. Huge, big just clumps of money coming in from up north, from different areas moving in. So we'll talk about that as well. One thing we'll talk about too is big news in the interest rate world. Two things. One, interest rates are up. Also, some big changes to second home loans from Fannie Mae, and so some fees have gone up there. It's going to make it a lot more expensive in getting second homes, and that starts next month. We'll talk about that as well. We're also talking about how we're getting home sellers $20,000 to $40,000 more right now they thought their home was worth in many cases. AK, they're using some online stuff. If they look at the true data and the true pace of the market, we're able to get them usually $20,000 to $40,000 more right now based on what we're seeing. One big thing we're seeing as well, home building costs are up through the roof. We mentioned it briefly last week, but we talk about right now copper is up. The cost of wood is up. I mean, lumber is up. So everything there is really costing more. We'll talk about how that's happening as well. One great thing, though, is homeowners across the country saw massive increases in their home equity in 2020. We'll talk about the state-by-state difference. I have a detailed report that breaks down what homeowners in South Carolina as a whole, and really good numbers overall in that aspect. And so the one thing, too, is just the real estate market is insane right now. We talked about it's borderline out of control what we're seeing. And our number one thing that we're seeing right now is a challenge, really a crisis of inventory. There's just not enough homes to sell based on how many people are coming in town right now, where you're seeing huge influxes of people up north that are escaping the city areas, the big metropolitan areas, moving to places like Myrtle Beach, lower cost of living, a little more freedom. So we'll talk about that. And on top of that, some amazing success stories. Our team's been crushing the past few weeks, setting records, which is amazing. Over 25 homes under contract the last 7 days. And if we have time, Dave has an amazing information article he shared with me about 38% of people decided not to buy a house for a superstitious reason. And it talks about the top 7, which is really cool. And obviously, number 2 was they felt bad vibes about the house. And that's something we talk about too, is like you want not necessarily the feng shui, like we're not that detailed into it, but you want the feel to be right. You want the neutral part to be right, because it is an emotional purchase, right? And that's something we take into buyer psychology and what we do. So if we have time about that today, we'll talk about that and really how that affects you as a home seller as well.
All right, sounds good. We're just getting started, but if you're just tuning in for the very first time, you don't know who this guy is. Blake Sloan has been called the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes magazine, Realtor magazine, also the Wall Street Journal, many other national publications. Maybe you've seen him on TV along with Fox and Friends and also NBC, and personal endorsements on this very radio station from Sean Hannity, from Glenn Beck, Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox, and others. You know, put them all together is just totally unprecedented. Now, we also learn from week to week a little bit more about the trademark systems that Blake has for both home sellers and home buyers. Can't give you all those secrets right now, but the most important part of that system is what?
Man, especially right now, like I said, when I wrote this, years ago, we just kind of really got to this. The market was not near as crazy as now, right? We've been doing this show for almost 10 years now, if not longer. And so the reality is we've been through downs, we've been through neutral markets. And right now the market is so hot, you do not want to touch that hot market by yourself because it's costing a lot of money. And we've seen a lot of even people who just use average agents, right? We use an average agent, their friend, or somebody who does it part-time that's leaving $10, $20, $30,000 on the table right now because they're not advising their client correctly. And so here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. I made it really a point that we're going to talk about that every single week, at least at some point, because I see so many horror stories. People who are very intelligent, who bought and sold a lot of homes, will come to me and say, look, well, we're going to use our friend, they're part-time. And it just blows my mind because you wouldn't ever want to get, heart surgery from surgeons only done, a couple before, 2 or 3. You wouldn't want to obviously have a lawyer represent you who's only part-time, who doesn't really focus in that type of law. But people do it all the time, right? If you're charged with a crime you did not commit, you don't want just some average attorney. You want the absolute best who's aggressive and fanatical about what they do. And that's the same thing that you deserve as a home seller with one of your largest assets. And so the reality is why that single most important variable is the agent is because when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. How do we know that? Well, we took the time to slow down and identify every single one. If they're handled correctly, all of them, all 118 of them, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball. And that could be anything from the pricing strategy they give you based on the data. Do they answer the telephone? At what times they answer the telephone? How long does it take them to respond to a web lead online when a buyer inquires about your house? What are the quality of photos? What are the order of the photos and how they present them online? All those details matter. And so the reality is you have one single agent in most cases operating like an old school cassette tape. They're trying to juggle all the balls. They're trying to work with buyers, sellers, do all the administrative work. And the reality is there's not enough time in the day for them to do that. It's like having the same person at McDonald's do their front register, the drive-thru, and the French fries at the same time. Doesn't work very well, but unfortunately, that's how most real estate agents still operate. And so what we did, we identified every single variable and we created a system that's proven repeatable that creates maximum leverage at every single point. We call that stacking the dominoes. And so what we do is we create leverage for you at point 1, leverage for you at point 2, and we stack that up with technology and people on the team to basically create the ultimate competitive advantage for you in that process. The system is called the Guaranteed Sold System. Only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, on the buyer side, guess what? 100 plus variables on the buyer side. If each one's handled correctly, puts money in your pocket, you get the home that you want, aka your dream home. If those are handled incorrectly, it costs you money. And in today's market, what really happens is you miss out on your dream home and you're stuck waiting around trying to get into a multiple offer situation and pay more money. The system we have for buyers called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System gives you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as through the inspection process all the way to the closing table. And so right now, with the market being so intense and so hot, you can make big time mistakes with very, very small increments. Most of those being a seller who leaves money on the table right now, trying it themselves because exposure matters. But when it's so hot, you can want to have a global reach, not just some small local reach or small neighborhood reach, because you're cutting out a lot of buyers. There's such a big influx right now of money from all across the East Coast, all across the country. You got buyers from California, Nevada, obviously a lot of the Northeast. And so you want to make sure you have access to those who can help drive the price up of your property. And so if you're listening to the show or anyone you know, you owe it to yourself to have the single most important variable corrected for you. And that's to have an agent who's the absolute best and has a team and system around that. And that's what we've been building out for the last decade. And that's what gives our clients a huge competitive advantage. If you want to know more, reach out, call us 843-808-SOLD.
Coming up in just 1 minute, we'll get an update on what the market is looking like right here in the Myrtle Beach area and what are your mortgage rates looking like as well. If they're going up, going down, it's real important what those numbers are. We'll get to those in just a second. Remember, get in touch with Blake Sloan at the office at Sloan Realty Group. Sloan Realty Group at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Hey, if you are in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now, look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons I have learned is this: hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Plus, it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agree to, you will have it bought for
most money. You need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price again that we agreed to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Get in touch with Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group at 843-808-SOLD, as you just heard, just right there. Coming up in just 1 minute, we got mortgage rates. Find out exactly where they are, and you really need to know those numbers because that could cost you or get you some additional money. In the meantime, though, let's find out what the market's doing like. I mean, it's been really hot. I mean, that's been an understatement. But what are you seeing?
I think you're right. Hot would be an understatement. It is chaotic right now. It's crazy. It's something like I haven't seen in my long career. I've been in the business since January 2005. It's kind of reminiscent of how it was, back then. And again, I grew up in the business. Mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, entire family. So real estate. And so it's crazy right now. It's different because we're seeing so much pressure right now for single family homes, people that are moving from out of the area. They're more relocating, right? In 2005 market, it was more speculation buying. This time it's just people really buying for a second home or themselves relocating here. It's for us in Myrtle Beach, it's more like that perfect storm, right? You have everything, low interest rates, you have the COVID-19, people trying to escape very dense populated areas, and also draconian measures by certain governors or local government, where we've had a lot of frustration in buyers that we've experienced who are moving down here, trying to get to where a little more freedom. And so what that means for us is great news for home sellers, and you're 100% in control in that realm. And so like right now, looking at single family resale homes, sales last month up 22%, which is amazing. It would be much more than that if there was actually homes available to sell. That's kind of what we're running into. But for example, January 2020, there's 411 homes sold. January this year, 466. So great news there overall. Obviously, price is something that everyone is thinking about as well. So you're looking at median price up 15.8% at $285,000 even, which is great. Average sale price up 22.4%. Huge jump there, $364,370. And that's just something that you probably see even more if it wasn't from some of the appraisal limitations. We're actually to the point right now where that's a big thing that we're providing value for our clients, because we're helping make sure that the appraisal is handled correctly, able to meet the appraiser there, go through the home, show all the upgrades, because that's make or break. You have some average agent who doesn't understand that aspect. That's a huge variable that can be dropped, mishandled, and we're able to put extra $5,000, $10,000, sometimes $15,000 more in our client's pocket by making sure that appraisals handled correctly, right? Because if not, you have some average agent lets the appraiser go by themselves. They don't really know what's going on there, and ultimately they just kind of in and out. They're super busy. They forget some of the upgrades. They don't really go as deep as they could, and that leaves a lot of money on the table. Now, what we're also seeing right now, we've had this negotiating a few offers recently, is buyers are so desperate for inventory in a way that they're foregoing any difference in appraisal. aka they're putting in there a clause that they'll make up the difference. So let's say that we've had multiple offers, in some cases $20,000 over asking price. Now, we both know that that won't appraise for that. So what we've been able to do is negotiate that the buyer will make up any difference to the seller that it comes in appraised short. And that's something that we're doing to negotiate on our clients' behalf, because why is that? Well, we're selling hundreds and hundreds of properties. We know what's going on. And so we know those pitfalls to look out for. And that's how we're locking that down up front for our clients. And so that's what gets really tough right now. We're in that in-between stage where it's not necessarily the normal yet, but you have buyers who want to pay for that. And the last thing you want to do as a seller is take your house off the market, wait 2 or 3 weeks, and then find out it doesn't appraise, and you have to drop your price to $15,000, $20,000. So you want to make sure you defend against that up front. That's something we do very hard to fight for our clients, and we live by this thing we talk about all the time, is that details matter. And so right now, here's the most shocking number for the entire data of last month is inventory. It's been like this for the past few months. Inventory last month was down 68.2% from the same time last year, which means there's 68.2% less homes available than there was the same time last year. If you look at this long line graph of month after month, I mean, it goes back 2018 here. It's like a cliff. It just drops off, where right now there's 1.4 months of inventory. In essence, what that means, there's thousands less homes available right now for sale than was the same time last year. Now, you add on top of that 22% increase in sales, guess where the pressure's at? The pressure's on price, and that puts you as a home seller in the driver's seat. And so you want to make sure, if you've been thinking about selling, but on the sidelines, you've been waiting, don't wait too late. There are some experts, and I'm not sure if I agree with this or not, that are predicting potential change in the market about Q4 this year. Rates are creeping up. A lot of people are kind of getting that very eerie kind of chirp right now, as it happened last time about 2008 when people start chirping about, the market change. It usually starts with a few experts and some news people pick it up, and then you kind of see they forecast that so much it kind of does happen. So definitely take advantage of that if you're a home seller. But inventory down 1.4 months, down 68.2%, which is crazy. And so that's just something you're seeing right now. Into buyer traffic, here's the other part. This is kind of what I use to gauge real time buyer traffic. Like, what's going on with showings? How many showings are we having this year versus same time last year? Right now, showings are up 78.8%. What's that mean? The market is still smoking hot right now with people coming from outside the area, usually up north. And we're seeing the spring market happen a little bit earlier this year. How's that? Because you can see by the data. Right now, 9.3 showings per listing is what you're getting on average, which is up 78% from the same time last year, which is awesome overall. Into condo sales, guess what? Condo sales are smoking hot right now too, because we're seeing a lot of buyers who could afford homes last year cannot necessarily afford that same home this year because prices have gone up. They're switching to condos, which is a little more affordable, and that's just kind of what you're seeing people default to. Sales for condos, like I mentioned, up 22.5% last month alone, which is awesome. Into average sale price up 13.2% last month alone at $179,105. And also with looking at median price up 11.1% at $150,000. And you're seeing the same exact challenge with condos right now, which is inventory. There's just not anything available. You saw a 46.9% decrease in the amount of condos in the market. And so if you've had a second home or a condo, if you're in one, you want to move from condo to house, now's a great time because there's a big demand right now for condos. And so that's just something that's awesome as well. And just looking at the weekly numbers we track real time, and I've mentioned this before, once COVID started, we wanted to, how do we get more hyper focus on what's happening right now? If I go over that data we just shared, those are properties that closed last month. The problem is those are written up under contract about 45 to 60 days ago. And so like if you look at real time, what happened the past 7 days, what new properties went under contract, we have another record number here. The last 7 days, we had 882 properties go into contract for $239,062,132. And so massive amounts of homes. I mean, last year in June, July, we were barely scraping 800. It dropped back down to the sixes in November, December, and we're back up to almost 900 homes every 7 days going under contract. Now, the problem is that's not sustainable. And so you want to take advantage of that if you're a home seller right now, because your buyer demand is peaking a little earlier this year than what we've seen in the past. It'll continue on a little bit, but as rates creep up, which we'll talk about in a second, that's something to be aware of. Because we're going to see that continue to tighten down, in my opinion. A lot of the experts are saying the same thing. And so the bottom line, if you're a home seller, right, the party is rocking right now. We talked before, if it keeps going too long, it's like being at the party. People just started taking some shots. They keep taking more shots. They're going to end up down in the driveway down by the ditch, right? That was my buddy's kind of analogy, but it's true. We're kind of just finished the shots. Now we're in the driveway. And so make sure if you're thinking about selling, take advantage of that. Reach out to me in my office. We can definitely guide you the right direction. In many cases, we say, look, here's what you can get. You get a lot more than you think you can. Or if not, we say you may want to wait a little bit based on your situation. Either way, we're super objective, and we just give you the data that you need free, no hassle, none of that at all. So call me if you want to know more, 843-808-SOLD. Into mortgages. This is something that's been a little crazy to watch and see. There's some big news that was announced kind of under the radar late Friday last week on purpose, I believe. And so Fannie Mae came out with a letter to lenders, and they said, basically, here's the deal. We don't want to have as much second home or investment properties in our portfolio. And they came out with basically an objective that said, here's the deal. We don't want any more than 7% of our portfolio being second homes or investment properties. And what immediately happened there is basically adding a lot of fees through that, because a lot of these, I don't want to get too detailed in this, but a lot of mortgage brokers don't want to get stuck. These mortgages saw as much as 200 basis points added to these mortgages, and that's going to start April 1st. And so that will hurt us a little bit. Why is that? Because we're in a second home market. Some less buyers will be able to qualify for less, and obviously they'll bring more money to the table. And so that's a huge hit to second home markets. Obviously, that's where we are. I think it may be okay here because we have such a massive demand. And a lot of times what we're seeing too is people who are selling homes up north. let's say they bought, 5, 10, 15 years ago for 3 or 4 or 500,000. Their house is now worth 6, 7, 800,000, more than the cost here. They're selling that up there, and they're coming here with cash, and they're buying it because they see a massive value in what we have here. And so that's what's driving our prices up here in the Myrtle Beach market. And so the reality is that's something to be aware of. I do think it'll take a little bit to affect. And so if you're a home seller, keep that in mind. What's also happening right now, interest rates kind of jumping up through the roof. If you look at last week's show, rates are 3.27%. Right now, 30-year fixed rate mortgage, 3.45%. If you look back about 3 or 4 weeks ago, actually 4 or 5 weeks ago, I'm old little tracker right here, 2 points where the rates were at. And so you can see that significant increase. And what that does is that makes more people sit on the sidelines. Also, buyers cannot afford as much money based on a debt to income ratio because their payment's higher. And so that does limit the amount of buyers who can buy your house as that rate does go up. And so keep watching that. That will kind of put a little bit of water on the fire, so to speak, as those continue to raise up. A 15-year fixed rate right now, 2.88%. A 30-year FHA loan, 2.92%, a jumbo loan, 3.40%, and a 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now is 2.75%. And so that is continuing to climb week after week it has, and I think that will probably continue to climb a little bit more as we go on. So just be aware of that. It will put a little bit of brakes on some stuff. I still think we got a ways to go. We have a fantastic spring and summer market here, but don't wait too late. If you want to know more about that, or a friend or relative you talk to that's thinking about selling, say, look, you got to call Blake Sloan. Have them give us a call, 843-808-SOLD.
Absolutely. Coming up in just a minute, we've got some other great stuff to let you know about, including your hot buyers alert. We'll find out what's going on, and success stories. There are lots of success stories, and there are lots of sales going on. Don't miss out on what's happening right now. Get in touch with Blake Sloan at his office at Sloan Realty Group. Phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary Levant.
Well, like 6 minutes left or so. About 6.
5.5 minutes or so.
Okay, only a little long there. Okay. All right.
For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sales experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com, or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Time right now for your hot buyers alert. Blake and his team working with just a ridiculous amount of home buyers, and they're all looking for homes here in the Myrtle Beach area. Incredibly hot market right now. They're looking for homes anywhere from $150,000 to $3.5 million. They need your inventory immediately. So if you're thinking of selling, please contact Blake immediately at that number we've been telling you about, 843-808-SOLD. How many people are looking for homes on Blake's website right now? 60,000 plus. 60,522 is the number I'm seeing here right now. 60,522. That's a lot of people looking for homes, and these are active home buyers.
Crazy, right? Real people, like Dave mentioned, username, password, account. Like these aren't hits. These are actual people from all of it. Right now, DJ Taylor from Pittsburgh, PA is on the site. He's looked at 526 properties. I got Carl from Billerica, Massachusetts. I got Amanda from Myrtle Beach. I got Blanca from Tewksbury, Massachusetts. I got Mary, North Carolina, Lorraine, Ohio, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I got Fredericksburg, VA. I got Brooklyn, New York. And the reality is we have people from all over the country. 52 weeks ago, this week, I sat here scared to my core that I said, man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm doubling down on marketing. I'm not going to pull my foot off the pedal. While all the other agents, guess what they did? They stopped investing in marketing. They stopped spending money. And so what we did, we have buyers from all over the country continue looking for the past 12 months. And so if you want to, hey, Blake, what makes you different? We've been outspending the average agent 100 to 1 for a very long time, especially this past year. And so you owe it to yourself. Let me get you more exposure. Don't just go with some little neighborhood favorite who just has a very, very small pond. We have a national and international reach here. I can drive more traffic, which drives the price of your home right now, especially when demand is so high. Do not, sell yourself short by just letting some agent that's still in the MLS and not drive up the price that they could to get you the most of your hard-earned equity. And so that's the key thing. Like they mentioned, we need inventory. If anybody you know, your friend, relative, aunt, uncle, cousin, if you like him, you don't like him, whatever it is, say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake. Give him my number, 843-808-SOLD. We've been crushing it. Really quick, the success story this week, one example, I just bought a property from a guy named Chuck, who is a very, very high-level investor, owned a property here in Myrtle Beach, just didn't want to list it no matter what. He said, I want you to give me a fair offer, buy it out. Here's what it is. I said, okay, here it is, cash offer. Boom. He didn't want a hassle of listing it. Came in, bought it. My company that we have, that's an investment fund, bought that out immediately. Super easy, done deal. So if you want to be a part of that, we also do that for you. Sold as is. He didn't want to fix anything up. That's something we did. But here's the cool part. This is the fun part for me, is getting maximum dollars for our clients. Excuse me. Here's a cool Mike, amazing radio listener. He needed to sell his home to go back to be close to his children upstate New York. He knew the only agent to call was us at Sloan Group. We came in. Big surprise, though, he got. We actually came in and showed Mike we can get $20,000 more than he thought he could get for his home, which we did. He was blown away. We came in, designed a custom marketing plan, launched global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality tour, got massive traffic under contract in one day with multiple offers, which is cool, right? So that's pretty cool right there. Caitlin and Sean looking to sell their home so they can repurchase a larger home with more land here locally. The challenge is they need to sell their home for top dollar to be able to qualify and get the property they wanted that was much larger. Thankfully, they called us first. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough, went active on Friday. Within a couple of days, generated 21 showings, multiple offers in their home. And the coolest part was you negotiated an extended date for them to stay in the property so they could be able to get close on their terms. That's a big concern right now. People are saying, well, I want to sell my home, but I can't find anything to buy. And so what we've been able to do is we're in the driver's seat. We'll negotiate for you to be able to stay in the home after it closes so that you can be able to drive and be able to close on both homes. So they're able to close on both homes at the same time without having to rent. And so that's something we're very good at that you need to know more about. If you want, reach out and call us for sure, 843-808-SOLD. And one more even too, which is important. Tammy had previously listed her home for sale, a different real estate agent, no luck getting it sold. Empty promises. Came in, give us a call. We came in, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, 2 full price offers for $40,000 more than the previous agent had listed for. And so that's the reality of you getting an agent with a global reach where you don't want to know more. So reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD for sure.
Got about a minute left. I mean, one day and you're getting these things under contract?
Yeah, I mean, it's been like, so we kind of build up. We do the marketing, we everything. We kind of build this buzz around it, and then we launch this big thing. And so what's happening is we're creating an auction effect for our clients. And so that's huge. And that's what a lot of agents did. They just go through the motions, pop at MLS, they're taking the first offer. You have to know how to play the strategy right now. We make sure we don't respond, within the first few minutes. We say, look, let's see what happens here. Let's get the showings in. You can drive the price up, and then you get bidding wars on your property. And that's when the magic happens. You drive $20,000-$30,000 above asking price. So call me if you want to know more. We have this system figured out to a very, very detailed T for sure.
Kind of sounds like you know what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Obsessed with it, really.
Take advantage of that expertise and call Blake today at his office at Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Blake, great show. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
Sounds good.